Wherever you are across the globe, I ask that you stop and listen. I can tell you that what you will hear today is a timely message and a secret you will need to prepare yourself and everyone around you for what is meant to take you unaware. God is confirming many of the truths revealed here, and this one is no exception. What you will hear is God's mercy to you. Many who ignore such messages had to come back again to know the mind of God for the season ahead. Now quickly tell us where you are watching from so that our prayer team can pray for you, and what time you came across this great timely message. I will now begin sharing today's experience. My name is Lapson. I have been a firefighter for 17 years. I have an experience I cannot be quiet about. I cannot pretend that it did not happen. After what happened to me, after what I experienced and what I saw in that other place, I know that I have to speak. I know that I have to tell this experience. I need people to understand that something is coming. Something very serious and very real that is bigger than the fires we are fighting right now, and we all need to be ready. We need to prepare. We need to listen to what I am saying. Let me start by saying something that I feel very strongly about, something that I need to communicate clearly. To everyone listening right now, please stay calm. Please do not panic. I want you to understand that our fire department, we are working very hard to keep people safe. We are doing everything we can to control the fires that are happening right now and to protect our communities. We are not sitting around. We are not being lazy. We are moving. The government is giving us the support we need to do this job. They are giving us resources. They are giving us equipment. They are giving us trained personnel. They are giving us money to make sure that we can do our job properly and completely. The National Guard has come in to help us. The state has sent resources from other areas. Private companies have donated equipment that we need. Volunteers have come to help. I want you to know that we are not alone in this. We are not overwhelmed without help. We are working very hard. My brothers and sisters in the fire service, we are putting everything we have into this work. Some of us are working 18 hours a day. Some of us are working 20 hours a day. We are tired, yes. My body is tired. My mind is tired. My spirit is tired, but we are committed. We are trained. We know what we are doing. We are not just making things up as we go. We have experience. We have knowledge. We have discipline. And we are using all of that to fight these fires. But I have to tell you something else now, and this is very important. This is where I need you to really listen to me with your whole heart and mind. This is not about trying to scare you. This is not about creating panic or causing people to run around in fear. This is not about that at all. This is about awareness. This is about being honest with you about what I know and what I have learned. This is about telling the truth. After 17 years in this work, after seeing what I have seen, and after experiencing what I experienced in that other place, I need to tell you that there is something coming. There is something coming that is much bigger than what we are dealing with right now. There is something coming that is much worse than what we have seen before. And unless people understand this, unless people truly understand this, and unless people take action, unless people pray, things are going to get very bad. People are going to suffer. People are going to lose their homes. People are going to lose their lives. Please be patient. I'm going somewhere. Also, please pray for us. Your prayer goes a long way in this situation. Maybe this will make you understand why we seek your prayers. Last year, when the big wildfire came to Los Angeles, we fought it with everything we had. We were out there day and night. We were fighting fire until we could barely stand anymore. We saved so many lives. We protected so many homes. But I lost friends in that fire, good men and women. People that I had worked with for years. People that I trusted. People that I cared about. And many of my colleagues, the ones who survived, they are still suffering. They carry pain in their bodies that the doctors say will never go away. Some of them have health problems now that are permanent. They will carry these health problems for the rest of their lives. They breathed in smoke and fire for days and weeks during that wildfire, and it damaged their lungs in ways that cannot be fixed by medicine or surgery. Some of them have PTSD from what they experienced. Some of them cannot sleep at night. When they close their eyes, they see images from the fire. They hear sounds from the fire. Some of them look at fire now and they see something that haunts them, something that brings back the terror of what they experienced. I have a friend. His name is Tommy. He has been a firefighter for 22 years. He was right there in the middle of that fire last year, fighting it hour after hour, day after day. He breathed in so much smoke that his lungs were damaged. The doctors at the hospital, they sat down with him and they looked at the images of his lungs and they told him that he has permanent damage. The lungs are scarred. The airways are damaged. This is something that will not get better. He still comes to work. He is still a firefighter. But he has to wear special equipment now. He gets tired faster than he used to. He cannot run as fast. He has to stop and rest more often. His wife cries sometimes because she is afraid. She is afraid that one day his body will just give out. One day his lungs will just stop working. She is afraid of losing him. Tommy did all of this. He made this sacrifice to help save Los Angeles. He put his body on the line, but he paid a price for it. A price that will be with him for the rest of his life. Please pray for us over here in the battlefield. On April 26th, I was in the office doing my regular work. It was a normal day like any other day at the station. The men on duty, they come and go throughout the day. Some of them are out at the front line fighting the fire, and some of them are back at the station, getting rest and eating food so that they can go back to the front line again. It is like a rotation system. Everyone knows they have a job to do, and everyone does it without complaining. Everyone understands the importance of what we do. That day was ordinary. There was nothing special about it. I was at my desk, working with documents and reports, making sure that everything was organized correctly. I was helping to track resources. I was helping to document what was happening. I was working with the numbers and the information that was coming in from the field. My shift ended around 5 in the afternoon. Now I should have gone home. My wife was waiting for me at home. She was planning dinner. We had made plans to spend some time together as a family, but I had been thinking about some things. I had been worrying about some things, and I wanted to talk to a few of my colleagues before I left the station. I felt like I needed to talk to some people. I needed to hear their voices and see their faces and have a normal conversation. I went to the break room where a few of the guys were sitting. Some of them were just coming back from the front line. Some of them were about to go out to the front line. Some of them were just taking a break. We started talking about the fire, about the situation, about how things were going. We were talking about how bad it was, about neighborhoods that were burning, about families that had lost their homes. We were just having a regular conversation, nothing special about it, just guys talking. Then something strange began to happen. As I was talking, as I was speaking to my friends, I started to feel something in my chest. It was not pain exactly. It was more like pressure. It was a heaviness. It was like something was pressing down on my chest. I thought maybe it was just stress, or maybe I had been sitting too long without moving around. I was thinking maybe I just needed to get up and move my body a little bit. I tried to ignore what I was feeling. I kept talking to my friends. I kept trying to be normal. But then the pressure got worse. The heaviness got more intense. I started to feel like I could not breathe properly. My breath was coming in short, quick bursts. I was not breathing smoothly and calmly anymore. I was breathing in a rapid, panicked way. I knew this feeling. I have had anxiety attacks before because of the stress of the job. I have had times when the smoke from the fires has affected my breathing. So I did not think that it was something serious at first. I thought maybe I just needed some fresh air. I thought maybe I was having another anxiety attack. I tried to calm myself down. I tried to use the techniques that I know about. I tried to take deep breaths, long and slow. I was trying to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. I was trying to focus on my breathing. But something was different this time. Something was wrong. The more I tried to breathe, the worse it got. My chest felt tight. It felt like there was a band around my chest that was squeezing tighter and tighter. My heart was beating very fast, faster than normal. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I could feel my pulse in my neck. I could feel sweat starting to form on my forehead. My hands were getting cold and clammy. I tried to stand up. I thought maybe if I stood up and moved around, things would get better. But my legs felt weak. They were not supporting me properly. I could see that my friends were noticing that something was wrong. They were looking at me with concern. They were watching me carefully. They could tell that something was not right. "Lapson, you okay?" one of them asked me. His name was James. He was looking at me with worry in his eyes. I tried to tell them that I was fine, that I just needed a moment. I tried to say the words, but they did not come out right. The words were not forming correctly. I felt dizzy. The room was starting to spin a little bit. I could see the room going around me, like I was on a spinning chair. I remember thinking that I should sit down before I fell down. I remember being aware of that. I remember thinking that I needed to be careful because I might fall. But I did not get the chance to sit down. My body just gave out. I felt myself falling and I could not stop it. It was like my legs just stopped working. They just gave up. They refused to support my weight anymore. Everything went dark. Everything went quiet. I remember thinking that this was very strange. I remember being aware that something was happening that was not normal. I remember one of my colleagues, James, he reached out and caught me as I was falling. He tried to hold me up, but I was too heavy, and gravity was pulling me down with a force that he could not resist. We both went down. I fell to the floor, and he fell with me. We landed hard. I could hear the sound of my body hitting the ground. I could hear him hitting the ground. I could hear them calling for help. I could hear someone yelling for the medic. The medic was in the station. The medic came running into the break room. I could not respond to anything they were saying. I could not move. Everything was getting dark. Everything was getting quiet. It was like I was slipping away. It was like I was being pulled away from the world that I knew. As I was losing consciousness, I felt like I was floating. It was very strange because I could still hear the voices of my friends around me. I could hear them talking. I could hear them calling my name. They were trying to help me. They were checking my pulse. They were feeling my neck to see if they could feel my heartbeat. They were looking at my eyes. They were checking to see if I was breathing. Then someone said they could not find a pulse. Someone said I was not breathing. They started CPR. I could feel the pressure of their hands on my chest. The medic was pushing hard, compressing my chest. It was like they were trying to push life back into me. They were pushing and pushing. Someone was giving me rescue breaths. They were trying to force air into my lungs. But at the same time, I was somewhere else. It was like I was watching from a distance. It was like I was not really in my body anymore. I was above my body, looking down at what was happening. I could see James working on me. I could see the medic working on me. I could see other firefighters standing around watching, hoping that I would come back. I could see worry on their faces. I could see fear. I could see them praying. Some of them were praying out loud. They were asking God to bring me back. They were asking God to save my life. And then everything became quiet. Everything became still. And I was no longer in the fire station. I was no longer on the floor with my friends trying to save my life. I was somewhere completely different. I was somewhere that I had never been before and never even imagined could exist. I found myself standing in a place that I have no words to properly describe. It was like being in a vast chamber, but not a chamber like you would see in any building on Earth. It was not like a warehouse or a gymnasium or any building that has walls and a roof and doors. This place was different. It was enormous. It was like the size of 1,000 football fields, maybe bigger. Maybe it was the size of an entire city. I could not see the walls because the chamber was so big. I could not see the ceiling. It just went on and on forever. The light was different in this place. It was not coming from a sun above me. It was not coming from lights on the ceiling. The light seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The light was all around me. It was above me. It was below me. It was inside of me. It was bright, but it did not hurt my eyes to look at it. It was like the light was intelligent. It was like the light understood that I was there and was being gentle with me so that I would not be hurt by it. The light was white and gold and silver all at once. It was more beautiful than any light I have ever seen. It was peaceful. It was calm. It was powerful. It was overwhelming. I stood there trying to understand where I was and what was happening. And then I saw it. I saw this enormous structure. It took me a moment to understand what I was seeing. Then I realized that it was a scales. It was like the scales you see in pictures about justice, in old paintings, in movies about courts. But this was 1,000 times bigger than any scales I had ever seen. This was a real scale. The scales were made of something that looked like crystal and gold all mixed together. They were suspended in the air. They were floating in this light. They were not attached to anything. They were not hanging from a chain. They were just hovering there, perfectly balanced. On either side of the scales, there was weight. There was something being measured. There was something being judged. I could see things on both sides of the scales, but I could not clearly understand what I was seeing at first. Behind the scales, I could see a map. It was a map of America, but it was not like a map you would see on paper or on a computer. This was a living map. The whole United States was spread out like you could see the entire country at once from above. You could see all the states. You could see the cities and the mountains and the rivers and the oceans. But on this map, there were flags, not the American flags like you see on the 4th of July. These were different flags, dark flags. I realized that these flags were placed on the map in a way that showed sadness. They were placed like the way a nation puts flags at half-mast when someone important has died. They were placed like when there is a period of national mourning and national pain. The flags were everywhere on the map. Some areas had more flags than other areas. Some areas had many flags clustered together. But there were flags covering almost the entire country. The sight of it was heartbreaking. It made me feel sad and heavy in my spirit. I was standing there, confused, trying to understand what I was seeing. I did not know what any of this meant. I was looking at the scales and the map and the flags and trying to figure out what it all meant. And then I heard a voice. It was not a voice like voices on earth. It did not come from a mouth or from a speaker. It did not come from any direction. It came from everywhere around me at the same time. The voice was clear and strong. It was filled with something that I can only describe as a kind of authority. But the voice was not angry. It was not harsh. It was kind, actually. But it was firm. It was serious. The presence that spoke to me, I understood immediately that this was an angel. Not an angel like you see in movies or in pictures in churches. Those pictures do not really show what an angel is like. This was real. This was something that I could feel in my whole being. The angel was not just speaking words to me. The angel was communicating something much deeper. The angel was speaking to my spirit, not just to my ears. The angel revealed to me that this place was a place of judgment. This was not a place of punishment. It was not a place of anger. It was a place where the actions of people were being weighed. This was a place where the choices that people had made were being measured and considered. The angel showed me that judgment is coming to America, and it is going to be very serious. The mercy of God has been falling on this nation for a long time. God has been patient with America. God has been extending mercy. But the works and the actions of people in this nation demand that justice be served. The angel revealed that there is a limit to patience, and that limit is being reached. I was trying to understand what the angel was telling me. I was trying to make sense of what I was seeing. I looked at the scales again. and I began to understand them better. On one side of the scales, I could see things being placed. I saw actions. I saw choices that people had made. I saw the cries of people who were suffering. These things were heavy. They weighed heavily on the scales. They were pressing down on the scales. On the other side of the scales, I saw something different. I saw mercy. I saw light. I saw the prayers of believers. I saw intercession. These were prayers that people prayed. These were people who got on their knees and talked to God. These were people who asked God for mercy for other people. I saw things that I could not quite see clearly, but the angel revealed to me that these were unseen sacrifices. These were the actions of good people that nobody knew about. These were the prayers that people prayed when nobody was watching. These were the acts of kindness and faith that happened in secret. These were the good deeds that people did without expecting anything in return. Around the scales, there were beings. I understood that these were angels, but the angel explained to me that these angels were not like lawyers in a court. They were not there to argue about which side was right or wrong. They were not there to make a case to convince someone. They were there as witnesses. They were bearers of substance. They carried the weight of what they witnessed. They brought what they had seen into this place. They brought the reality of what was happening on earth. And then I saw something else. There were dark beings there too. These beings were not angels. I understood that they were something else, something that opposed God. These beings were not like demons that you see in movies. They were real. They were powerful. These beings did not argue either. They did not try to make a case. They did not try to convince anyone of anything. Instead, they just added weight to the destruction. They added to the heaviness of the bad things that were on the scales. They were making the bad side heavier and more terrible. They were not trying to convince anyone. They were just making the darkness darker and the evil more evil. I was confused. I was scared. I did not understand what all of this meant. The scales were tipping. The side with the bad things, the actions and the choices and the cries of suffering, that side was getting heavier. But there was also mercy and intercession on the other side. There were prayers on the other side. So how could the angel say that judgment was coming? How could he say that justice had to be served if there was still mercy and prayer holding things back? That is when the angel began to reveal to me what these things actually meant. I needed to understand this. I needed to see it clearly. The angel showed me something. The angel showed me a scroll. It opened up before me, and I could see it clearly. It was like a document, but it was written in a way that I understood without reading words. The scroll communicated to me directly. On this scroll, there were things written, but I did not read them like you would read a book or a letter. Instead, I just understood what they meant. It was like knowledge came directly into my mind. The angel showed me the practical meaning of everything that I was confused about. The angel revealed to me that things are happening right now in America. Right now, as we speak, right now in this very moment, things are happening that are bringing judgment upon this nation. These are not things that happened years ago. These are not things from the past that we can blame on people who died long ago. These are things that are happening now, in these days that we are living in. These are things that are being done by people who are alive today. The angel showed me that these actions, these choices, these things that people are doing, they are opening doors. They are opening chambers. They are creating openings through which disaster can enter. And through these open chambers, the enemy is sending destruction. Disaster is coming. The angel did not tell me to be afraid. The angel told me something else. The angel revealed that God is not a wicked God. God is not cruel. God is not unjust. God is not mean. But people are making choices that open doors for the enemy to come in. People are making decisions that allow the devil to bring affliction upon people. That is why the mercy of God is always available. God is always offering a way out. God is always offering protection and safety. But people have to choose to accept it. The angel told me something short and simple. The angel said that God is not wicked, but men are the ones opening chambers for the devil to befall people with affliction. That is why God's mercy is always available. That is why God never gives up on people. That is why there is always hope. And that is when I began to see the first things. That is when I began to see what is opening doors for the enemy to bring disaster. That is when I began to understand what is happening in America. The first thing I saw was pride. I saw people, and I saw the pride in their hearts. I saw people who were thinking that they did not need God. They were thinking that they could build their lives and their futures without God. They believed that they could figure everything out on their own. They believed that their intelligence and their money and their power were all that they needed. I saw this in people in government. I saw leaders and officials making big decisions about things that affect millions of people, and they were not seeking wisdom from God. They were not asking for guidance. They were not praying. They were not listening for God's voice. They were just using their own human knowledge and their own human understanding. They were building systems and policies based on what they thought was right, without any real concern for what God might think or what God might want. They were treating God like God was not even there, like God did not matter, like God was not relevant to the decisions they were making. In businesses, I saw the same thing. I saw business leaders and owners making decisions to make more money, to get more power, to become more successful, without any concern for whether these decisions were hurting people or harming the environment or doing things that God would not approve of. They were willing to hurt other people if it meant they could get ahead. They were willing to ignore warnings about danger if it meant they could make more profit. They were confident in themselves. They believed that their intelligence and their ability and their money could solve any problem. They did not want to hear from God. They did not want to admit that there was anything bigger or more important than their business. In the regular people, I saw pride too. I saw people living their lives as if God did not exist. They were buying things they did not need. They were chasing after success and status. They were worrying about what other people thought of them. They were trying to build their lives on things that do not last. Houses and cars and money and respect from other people. These things were what mattered to them. The things of God, the things of the Spirit, the things that last forever, these things did not matter. These things were not important to them. The angel showed me that this pride was opening a door. It was opening a chamber. It was allowing the enemy to come in and bring destruction. Because when people are proud and think they do not need God, they are separated from God's protection. They are separated from God's guidance. They are vulnerable. The second thing I saw was immorality spreading through the nation. I saw it spreading like a sickness. I saw it spreading like a disease that was getting worse and worse. I saw things that were clearly wrong being accepted as normal. I saw things that used to be hidden and shameful being put on television and in movies for everyone to see, including children. I saw lies being told openly, and people not caring that they were lies. I saw people treating each other badly, with no concern for how their actions hurt others. I saw in the government people making deals and taking bribes and using their power for their own benefit instead of for the benefit of the people. I saw corruption. I saw people making promises to the people and then doing the opposite of what they promised. I saw people in power breaking laws that regular people would be punished for breaking. I saw double standards everywhere. In business, I saw people cheating customers. I saw people making products that were not safe just so they could save money and make more profit. I saw people lying about what their products could do. I saw people stealing ideas from other people and claiming that those ideas were their own. I saw dishonesty and corruption. In families, I saw people treating each other with disrespect. I saw husbands not honoring their wives. I saw wives not honoring their husbands. I saw parents not taking care of their children properly. I saw children being disrespectful to their parents. I saw relationships being thrown away when they became difficult instead of people working hard to fix them and make them better. I saw children growing up without knowing what a real family was supposed to look like. In the streets, I saw people stealing from each other. I saw violence. I saw people using drugs and losing their minds to addiction. I saw young people, teenagers, doing things that destroyed their futures. I saw sexual sin everywhere. I saw people treating their bodies like they meant nothing. I saw people using other people for sex and then throwing them away like they were garbage. The angel showed me that this immorality was opening doors too. Every immoral act was opening doors for the enemy. Every lie, every theft, every act of violence, every sexual sin, every act of disrespect, all of these things were opening doors. And through these doors, affliction was coming. Sickness was coming. Death was coming. Disaster was coming. The third thing I saw was people ignoring divine laws. I saw people knowing what God wanted and choosing to do the opposite anyway. I saw people in churches reading the Bible and then going out and living in ways that directly contradicted what the Bible said. I saw people claiming to believe in God, but their lives did not show it. I saw people who had been warned about things, who had been told what would happen if they continued down a certain path, and they just ignored the warnings and kept going anyway. I saw people ignoring the laws of God about how to treat each other with respect and kindness. I saw people ignoring the laws of God about keeping their promises and their word. I saw people ignoring the laws of God about protecting the vulnerable and helping those who were in need. I saw wealthy people walking past homeless people without even looking at them. I saw people with plenty of food while others were hungry. I saw people with nice homes while others slept on the street. I saw people in charge of caring for the environment just destroying it without any concern for the consequences. I saw forests being cut down just for money. I saw oceans being filled with garbage and chemicals. I saw the air being polluted. I saw the water being poisoned. The angel showed me that God had given people responsibility to care for the earth, to be stewards of creation, but people were just destroying it like it did not matter. I saw people ignoring the warnings that had been given to them. Just like in the reporter's story that I heard about, there had been warnings. There had been prophets and messengers who had come and told people to change their ways, but people had ignored them. They had mocked them. They had laughed at them. They had said that they did not believe in God and did not need to listen to warnings about God. And so the judgment continued to build. The fourth thing I saw was the weakening of true faith. I saw churches that had been filled with believers becoming empty. I saw fewer and fewer people coming to worship and pray. I saw people who used to pray now just going through the motions without any real belief. I saw young people growing up and not knowing God at all. I saw faith being replaced with doubt. I saw people becoming confused about what they believed. I saw faith becoming weak and powerless. Some people had turned completely away from God. They had become like the reporter in the story that came before my story, thinking that there was no God at all. They looked at the suffering in the world and concluded that either God did not exist or God did not care about people. They thought that their human reason and their human understanding were all that mattered. They did not believe in miracles. They did not believe in prayer. They did not believe that God could do anything to help them. Other people said they believed in God, but their belief was weak. They believed in God on Sunday when they were in church, but they lived like there was no God the rest of the week. They believed in God when things were going well, but they lost faith when things got hard. They believed in God, but they did not live according to what God wanted. Their faith did not change how they lived. Their faith was not real. And some people just gave up on faith because it was too hard to believe. The world had convinced them that faith was not logical. The world had convinced them that science and technology and human knowledge were all that mattered. The world had convinced them that God was not real or God was not important. So they just gave up and lived like God did not exist. The angel showed me that this weakening of faith was opening doors too. When people did not pray, they had no spiritual protection. When people did not believe, they could not access God's power. When people gave up on faith, they became vulnerable to everything the enemy could throw at them. I was standing there in this vast chamber and I was seeing all of these things. I was seeing pride and immorality and people ignoring God's laws and faith becoming weak. I was seeing all of these doors being opened, and I was feeling the weight of it. I was feeling the heaviness of it. The side of the scales with all the bad things was getting heavier and heavier. The bad things were outweighing the good things. But then the angel told me something. The angel told me to look at the other side of the scales. The angel told me to look at mercy and intercession and unseen sacrifices. The angel told me to see what was holding back the full force of the judgment. And when I looked at that side, the scene changed completely. Suddenly, I was no longer in the vast chamber. I was in a different place. The light was still there, but the chamber was gone. I could see Jesus standing a long way off, like maybe half a mile away. And he was looking at me, and he was calling to me to come to him. His arms were open, and he was inviting me. I wanted to go to him. I wanted to run to him, but I did not run. I walked. I took one step at a time. And as I was walking toward him, the environment around me began to change. Everywhere I looked, I saw people crying. I saw people who had lost their homes. I saw people who had lost everything. I saw people who had nothing left. I saw people who were hurt and in pain. I saw people who had lost their families. I saw mothers crying for their children. I saw children crying for their parents. I saw people sitting in the ash and the rubble, not knowing what to do. I saw hopelessness, and I saw fire. I saw enormous fires. I saw fires that were much bigger and much worse than the fires we are dealing with now. I saw fires that destroyed whole cities. I saw fires that burned down neighborhoods and left nothing but ash and rubble. I saw fires that were moving fast, faster than the fires I have seen before, and they were consuming everything in their path. They were unstoppable. I saw people running from the fires, but the fires were too fast. I saw people trying to pack their cars and leave, but the fires caught them. I saw so much destruction. I saw the effect that these fires would have on the economy. I saw businesses being destroyed. I saw jobs being lost. I saw people becoming poor and homeless because of the fires. I saw people who had everything losing it all. I saw families broken up because people had to move away and find work in other places. I saw the government struggling. I saw the government trying to respond but being overwhelmed. I saw the government unable to help everyone. I saw the government making mistakes because there were so many emergencies happening at the same time. I saw resources being stretched too thin. I saw the government experiencing setbacks in many areas because all of their attention and resources were being used to deal with the fires. I saw the government failing to do things that it normally does because it was too busy dealing with the disaster. I saw the death. I saw people dying in the fires. I saw firefighters dying. I saw people trapped in their homes being burned. I saw people trying to run from the fires and not making it. I saw so much death and so much pain and so much suffering. It was overwhelming. It was heartbreaking. I was walking, and everything I saw was terrible. The crying was getting louder and louder. The fires were getting bigger and bigger. The destruction was getting worse and worse, and I was getting closer and closer to Jesus. And then finally, I reached Jesus. I reached out my hand and I touched his hand. His hand was warm. His hand was real. I could feel it, and everything disappeared. When I touched his hand, everything that I had been seeing disappeared. The fires, the crying people, the destroyed cities, the ash and rubble, all of it just vanished. It was like turning off a television. One moment I was seeing destruction and suffering, and the next moment everything was gone. And Jesus showed me something else. Jesus told me to look at the other side of the scales, to look at the side with mercy and intercession. When I looked, I could see that side more clearly now. I could see what was holding back the full force of the disaster. I could see the prayers of believers. I could see people on their knees praying for mercy. I could see people interceding for their nation. I could see sacrifices that people had made that nobody knew about. I could see acts of faith and love that were happening in secret. But Jesus showed me something very specific. Jesus showed me that there was a date. On the scales attached to the mercy side, there was a date. I could see it like it was written in light. And when I understood what the date was, I understood what I had been shown. The date was May 9th. Jesus revealed to me that May 9th is a day when the devil has plans to cause a great havoc concerning the wildfires. May 9th is the day when the disaster that I saw will begin to happen. But Jesus also showed me that God's mercy is available. God's mercy can stop this. God's mercy can protect people. God's mercy can limit the damage. God's mercy can save lives. But there is a condition. There is something that has to happen. Believers have to seek God's face. Believers have to pray. Intercessors have to rise up in prayer before May 9th. The prayers of believers before that date can hold back the judgment. The prayers of believers can extend God's mercy. The prayers of believers can protect people and communities and cities. Prayer is powerful. Prayer is real. Prayer changes things. Jesus told me that this is why I was being shown this. This is why I was being given this warning. I was being shown this so that I could tell other people. I was being shown this so that believers would understand how important it was to pray. I was being shown this so that people would take seriously the power of prayer and intercession. Jesus told me that unless believers pray, unless they seek his face, unless they intercede before May 9th, the things that I saw will happen. People will be homeless. People will be in pain. People will suffer. People will die. The economy will suffer. The nation will suffer. But if believers will pray, if they will intercede, if they will seek God's face, then the mercy of God will extend. The judgment will be delayed. The disaster will be limited. Lives will be saved. And that was all that Jesus said. Immediately after that, I found myself back in the emergency room of the fire station. I was lying on a table. My eyes opened. I could see the ceiling above me. I could see people around me. I was lying on a table, and people were working on me. I could see the medics. I could see my friends. I could see James, the colleague who had caught me when I fell. He was standing there, and when he saw that my eyes were opening, tears came to his eyes. He had tears of joy. He was so happy to see that I was waking up. He was so happy to see that I was alive. They told me later that I had been clinically dead for almost 4 minutes. My heart had stopped beating. They could not find a pulse. They had done CPR. They had been pushing on my chest for minutes, pushing hard, trying to get my heart to start beating again. They had used the defibrillator to try to shock my heart back to life. They had done everything they could to bring me back. And somehow I came back. The doctors said it was a miracle. They said that usually when someone is dead for that long, they do not come back. When the brain goes without oxygen for that long, it gets damaged. It does not recover. But I came back, and I came back with no damage. My brain is fine. My body is fine. The doctors cannot explain it. And I came back because I had something to say. I came back because I had a message to share. I came back because people need to know what is coming. God sent me back to tell this story. So here I am, sharing this with you now. I am a firefighter with 17 years of experience. I am a practical man. I do not usually talk about spiritual things. But I have seen something that I cannot explain away anymore. I have been to a place that is not like anywhere on earth. I have seen judgment. I have been shown what is coming. And I cannot be quiet about it. And I need you to understand something very important. The fires that we are fighting now, we are working hard to control them. The government is helping us. We have resources and support. We are doing our jobs. We are protecting people to the best of our ability. We are not giving up. But there is something else coming. There is something that is much bigger and much worse than what we are dealing with now. There is something that will happen unless people pray. Unless people pray, unless believers take this seriously and pray before May 9th, what I saw will happen. People will lose their homes. People will be hurt. People will die. The nation will suffer. But there is hope. There is a way to stop it. Prayer, intercession, seeking God's face. If believers will do this, if they will take seriously the power of prayer, then God's mercy can protect this nation. God's mercy can limit the damage. God's mercy can save lives. So I am asking everyone listening to this, I am begging you, please pray, please intercede, please seek God's face. Do not wait. Do not think that someone else will do it. Do not think that your prayers do not matter. Your prayers matter. Every prayer matters. Every person who prays is making a difference. Pray for the nation. Pray for protection from the wildfires. Pray for the safety of people in cities and communities. Pray for wisdom for the leaders of the nation. Pray for mercy. Pray for God to extend his protection. Pray without ceasing. Pray every day. Pray before May 9th. And for those of you who do not believe, I am asking you to think about this. I am asking you to consider that maybe there is more to this world than what you can see and touch and measure. I am asking you to consider that maybe God is real. I am asking you to consider that maybe your prayers could make a difference. Just try it. Just pray. Just ask God for mercy for this nation. I know that what I am saying sounds crazy. I know that it is hard to believe. I know that the world tells you that these kinds of things do not happen. But I am telling you that it happened to me. I saw it. I experienced it. I was dead and I came back, and I am here today because I was sent back to tell you about it. The fires that we are fighting now will be contained. We will do our jobs. We will protect people to the best of our ability. But be aware, be prepared. Be ready for what is coming. Understand that there is a spiritual dimension to what is happening. Understand that your prayers matter. Understand that God's mercy is available if people will seek it. I am tired now. I am worn out from telling this story. My emotions are exhausted. My voice is hoarse, but I had to tell it. I had to speak it out loud. I could not keep this to myself anymore. I could not go back to my normal life and pretend that nothing happened. I could not sit in silence. I could not sleep at night knowing that people needed to hear this warning. My wife asked me why I was staying up so late, why I was spending all this time working on this story, and I told her the truth. I told her everything, and now she understands. Now she knows why I had to do this. I hope that people will listen. I hope that believers will take this seriously. I hope that people will understand the urgency of this moment. I hope that people will pray. I hope that intercessors will rise up and seek God's face. I hope that we can see God's mercy extended to this nation. I hope that lives will be saved. I hope that homes will be protected. I hope that people will understand the importance of prayer and the power of intercession. This is not just a story. This is not just entertainment for you to listen to and then forget about. This is a warning. This is a call to action. This is a moment that matters. This is a time when every single person who believes in God needs to take this seriously. My brothers and sisters in the fire service, we are doing our jobs. We are fighting the fires. We are saving lives. We are protecting communities. But we cannot do this alone. We need God's help. We need the prayers of believers. We need the intercession of people who will seek God's face on behalf of our nation. To the people of America, I am telling you this because I care about you. I am telling you this because I have seen something that you need to know about. I am telling you this because God gave me a message to share, and I am sharing it. I am taking a risk by telling this story. People might think that I am crazy. People might say that I am making things up. People might doubt my testimony, but I do not care anymore. I have to tell the truth. I have to share what I saw and what I experienced. That is my story. That is my testimony. I am Lapson, a firefighter for 17 years, a practical man, a man of action, and I am telling you what I saw and what I experienced in that place beyond this world. I am telling you what God showed me about what is coming to America. I am telling you what Jesus revealed to me about May 9th. What you do with this information is up to you. You have free will. You can choose to believe or not to believe. You can choose to pray or not to pray. You can choose to take action or to do nothing. But I have done what I was called to do. I have shared the warning. I have told the truth. I have spoken what I saw. Now it is up to you what you will do with it. Now it is your responsibility to decide how you will respond. The message has been delivered. The warning has been given. May God help us all.